Hey everyone, Tyson the Subaru specialist from Subaru Prince George here. Today we're taking a look at the 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness. Now this is in the crystal white pearl. I actually had something interesting. Someone was looking at this, and they're typically very against white vehicles before they saw this, and their comment to me was, wow, it's less of a white vehicle and more of a black and white vehicle with all the extra cladding. So I thought that was interesting. So I've mentioned that to a couple people because white and black seem to be rather polarizing colors for a lot of my customers. So I thought I'd mention that. So some people are okay with white when it's less of just a white car and more of a black and white car, kind of like a Stormtrooper or a Panda. So Wilderness, new off-road oriented model, different front grille. You've got the front view parking camera, and of course the front bumper has more plastic cladding, as they're expecting that you're going to take these off the beaten path and they may get beaten up. You also have those Gatling gun style 6 LED fog lights. The 22s have different headlights. They're a little more compact than the previous gen, the 2021s. So this is a facelift year and they introduced this. We also have this black stripe on the hood, sticker, decal, decal, however you'd like to call it. It is matte black. It actually reduces sun glare up to the driver. So it's pretty cool. I know some people find that polarizing. I'm sure you could remove it. I don't think you'd want to, but that's all a personal preference thing after you own your vehicle. More aggressive cladding along the sides. So there's more. It looks beefier, it's chunkier. Again, protects against rust and rock chips, because around wheel wells, especially if you look at older vehicles, that's typically where you see some rusting. You do get the 17-inch exclusive Wilderness wheels, and you've got Geolander all-terrain tires on it. So they are snowflake rated. They're legal for the highways in BC. We have the Subaru Wilderness badge. You get 3 of those on the exterior of the vehicle. The mirror caps, they're different than the mirror caps you'd find on the Wilderness Outback. This is textured. It's very, very similar to this. More cladding along the bottom. And then, of course, you get Forester in anodized copper. I quite like that. I think it looks good. You get more anodized copper up here. And with the Wilderness, you get 3 tie-down areas. These have a 700-pound static weight rating, so they're expecting people to put rooftop tents and such on top of them. Same aggressive cladding around the rear wheel wells. And then at the back here, you got those little black circles in the black cladding. That's your backup sensors. They'll actually apply the brakes if it thinks you're going to hit something in reverse between speeds of 1 and 15 kilometers an hour, which is the best thing ever, by the way. Terrifying when it works. This is that same textured material that you find. This is normally painted on the Foresters, or a smooth black plastic, but I quite like the texture. I think it offsets the gloss paint quite well. You get the gray / blacked out badging on the Wilderness Forester. There's your other Wilderness badge on the exterior. The other one is up front there. But yeah, it's a good looking vehicle from all angles. You get an extra 1/2 inch of ground clearance in the Wilderness versus the standard Forester. So you go from 8.7 to 9.2 inches of ground clearance, which is typically more than most people need. I mean, depends how remote you're going. In Prince George here, you can get 35 centimeters of snow in a night. All the ground clearance is the best. So we do also have, being off-road oriented, you've got your aluminum skid plate there on the front, so protect the engine. And then there is one at the back here for the rear differential, and we'll see. It's kind of hard to see. It is rather thin and small. It does the job well, but we'll see if I can. You can kind of see it there. See if it'll focus on it. Oh yeah. So it'll help all but the heaviest glances off a rock. Power lift gate from the key fob, the door, or the driver's seat. And there is a ton of room in the back of the Forester. It's kind of what they're known for, that big boxy square rear end, really easy to load stuff in and out of. Privacy cover hides everything from the top of the seats down. And this is easy to remove if you need. It's just a telescopic piece right in there. And you can actually tuck that underneath the false floor. But you get the cargo tray, you got grocery bag hooks, 4 of them, 12-volt outlet for any charging needs, Then you have these little switches on either side. Those will fold the seats down virtually flat. The Wilderness trim levels get a full-size matching tire on a matching alloy wheel, which is the best thing ever, let me tell you. You can do 5 tire rotations, save yourself some wear and tear. You go through tires less often. LED cargo light, that turns on when you open the door, or you can have it turned off if you don't like it. You can close things manually. You can press the power, or you can lock and close it, which is awesome because you don't have to fish your keys out of your purse, your pocket, your bag, or walk back up front to click the lock. Now, as we go to the second row, make sure that's unlocked. Again, great room in the Forester. Really, really good headroom. Actually, before I fold that up, this is kind of rubberized on the back. Not so much like a cargo tray, but this is not a material that dog hair can worm its way into, which is awesome if you have pets, stuff like that. Seating material is called StarTex, or soft touch all-weather upholstery as they call it here in Canada. It's not leather, it's not cloth, it's 20% recycled plastic, the rest is synthetic, and it's super easy to clean, non-perforated. The idea is you can get it dirty and then you wipe it down after you get home. But I really, really like the gray black two-tone with that copper contrast stitching. I think it's sharp. I think copper is a great accent color. Out of the center console, you've got 2 vents, so the second row heats up and cools down much more effectively. 2 USB ports for charging. And then going with that copper, we also have more stitching. It says Wilderness in copper, of course. Up front, it is a proximity key, so keys in my pocket, lines right there, locks the doors. Forget something, wait a second, hand back in, it unlocks it. Then up front, that same StarTex material, that gray black interior continues up front along with the anodized copper. And down here we have a caution, so it's not something that most people are gonna hopefully ever see. I've yet to have someone mention that to me, but it is there. Power driver seat, of course. Same StarTex with that hexagonal pattern. I quite like these seats. I actually find these seats very, very comfortable, probably more comfortable than cloth or leather, and it's probably because the material itself has a little bit more cushion. Now on the front seats, we've got Subaru Wilderness and Subaru Wilderness. I quite like it. The Wilderness does come with the high wall rubber floor mats. Only the front gets the Wilderness badge. The backs are just kind of the pattern you see at the bottom there. Now, push button start, so keys in my hand, but foot's on the brake, light's green. You have that orange light that popped up on your side mirror there. That's your blind spot detection. So you've got a screen in either side, and it illuminates like so when someone's in your blind spot, or going to be in your blind spot. Now, it's not a substitute for shoulder checking, but it is one of the best features ever. I really like it. It's a nice aid. Down here by my left knee, driver left knee, you can open the rear hatch. You can turn off the steering responsive headlights if you don't like them. So steering responsive headlights, when you turn left at speed, the left headlight swivels slightly left, the right one stays facing straight. Turn to the right headlight swivels right, the left one stays facing straight. Best thing ever for nighttime driving. You can see around that corner a little bit sooner. We've got memory position for the hatch, so you can actually set it so the hatch only opens X percentage. So if you've got a low garage or something, you don't have to worry about hitting that or opening the hatch into the garage door opener. You've got traction control, auto start stop. You can turn off the blind spot detection if you don't like it. We've got Wilderness gauges up here. That little blue light right there, that's just saying, hey, don't drive me hard. I'm not at peak operating temperature yet. You can change the center display depending what you want to look at. I personally like the digital speedometer myself. Steering wheel looks very, very busy, but it's fairly simple after you understand. These change that screen up there. This is pretty much to do with Bluetooth and audio controls. The info button will change the small display screen up top there. I'll show you that in a minute. Right hand side has to do with adaptive cruise, lane centering. You can increase or decrease the follow distance. We have 2 different drive modes, intelligent and sport sharp. So right now we're in intelligent mode. You can see on by the park indicator there, it says I for intelligent. Now it says sport sharp, and that purple line is very aggressive. You'll shift your RPMs will sit higher. It'll shift at a higher RPM. It'll put you in a more aggressive power band for more spirited driving. And then, of course, the all-important heated steering wheel. Best thing ever. Does not heat between the seams or right here. Kind of keeps heat where you're supposed to have your hands. Best thing ever. Now, the adaptive cruise and the lane centering, those operate by using those 2-color EyeSight stereo cameras. It's the most up-to-date EyeSight system. It's got a wider field of view. It's awesome. It does automatic emergency braking, pre-collision throttle management. All that safety stuff is through those cameras. And Subaru's done it really, really smart. They put it behind the windshield. It's a lot cheaper to replace glass than it is camera systems. So it's very cool. I quite like it. I see the benefit to it. I understand why lots of people might not like it, but it is a great aid. Now, I know there's a little bit of glare on that screen. Hopefully you can still see it. You can cycle through this screen with the info button on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. It gives you a bunch of different information depending on what you want to listen to, or see while you're driving. I personally like water temp, oil temp, and you can change those widgets around. It is dual zone climate control. It ranges from 15 up to 30. Freezing to tropical, depending how you and your passengers like it. Easy to sync it back to just driver controlled. Below that here, we have 8-inch infotainment. It is all touchscreen, or we have the physical buttons below. Access to the My Subaru app. You've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Change your settings, medias, Bluetooth, CD player. Yes, we still have a CD player there. And when you put it in reverse, backup camera pops up. Rear assist braking, parking sensors. You can actually see the rear bumper, the top of it, so you have something to relate to, and you can clean the backup camera from inside the vehicle. It's got its own little washer that runs fluid over it. Down here is our climate controls. We've got driver side, passenger side, fan strength. Mode changes where the airflow is coming from. And if a passenger has a different temperature, the sync button goes out. They're getting out. You hit sync, goes back to driver controlled. Automatic transmission. You do have a manual mode. You can use the paddles upshift and downshift if you want to select your own gears. We have a front view off-road / parking camera, and that screen right there, I know it's kind of hard to see with the glare, sorry guys, but that's the front view camera. It's almost 180 degrees. You can see out around. It's pretty cool. It's not the biggest screen, but it works really, really well. Dual function X mode. So it's unique in the Wilderness Forester. It's got some different settings in the background computer-wise, but it's like 4x4 low in a pickup. You've got snow and mud mode, and you have deep snow and mud mode. Deep snow and mud mode changes the settings and turns off traction control to allow you to spin your wheels to chew yourself out of that situation. So twist it to the left, and you have to be stopped to engage it, or I think you can be going under 3. I recommend stop. So that's snow and mud. The off-road screen pops up, twist it to the right, and you've got deep snow and mud, and you can see traction control came off there, which is going to allow for that excess wheel spin. And then I just push, and it goes back to normal, which is great. Park brakes, auto vehicle hold, heated seats high and low for the driver and passenger. My favorite feature ever in any vehicle, auto dimming rear view mirror. There's no switch to flick, it just automatically dims if someone's got their high beams on behind you. It's got the home link system. You can hook up to 3 separate garage doors to your mirror. It's great. You don't have to carry a bulky opener with you. And up top here, access to the My Subaru Connected Services portion, SOS and roadside. You've got your lane sway. You've got your automatic emergency braking, which here in BC actually saves you 10% on your basic ICBC insurance. And up top here, giant panoramic sunroof. It is slide only, it does not tilt. If you open the sunroof, it will drag the shade back, but you do have to open it manually if you don't want the glass open as well. So that's a brief overview of the 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness. I'm Tyson, the Subaru Specialist from Subaru Prince George. I'll talk to you guys soon.